Okay guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. All right guys, I'm back, and guess what today is? I know, you already know. It's January 1st, 2020, and I don't know where 2019 went. It went by real quick. And I don't know what it is, but I was thinking that today. I thought, why is it that as you get older, time just seems to fly by? Like when you're young, summer vacation lasts forever. In fact, it just seems to go on and on and on. But now that I'm older, it's like the years just go by and I think, my gosh, I don't know what that is. Maybe it's speeding up for everybody. Maybe everybody feels this way, but it seems to me that the older that you get, the faster it goes. Anyway, now Q has not posted today, but we do have some news. Not a lot of news. I have been home today and I've been going through all sorts of news sites and trying to get caught up on different things. And I'm actually quite shocked at how little news there really is, but that will probably pick up now that we're out of the holidays and into, a regular routine. Anyway, I told you that I'd be here today, and here I am. And I should be posting regularly from here on in now that the holidays are over. So there you go. So I also have some people to thank, but I'm going to do that at the end of the show. And we're going to just jump right in here. Now, this was found on the Chans, and I think it's very interesting because, and it's small. So let me see if I can make it a little bigger for you tiny phone people. I know, I'm always thinking about you, aren't I? I am. Okay. We all know that New York City is the global economic powerhouse of the U.S., the largest economic trading center of the world, the global headquarters of the UN, and the leading national experiment in gun restrictions with the most severe acts to date on gun bans, gun restrictions, and confiscations via red flag laws. Anyone in America is also well aware of their leading role in the charge for diversity, immigration, and its status as a city with a white minority, along with their Democrat rule and push to undo all American traditions, culture, and religious morality in favor of multiculturalism. Now, the UN is hiring disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration officers, DDR, in New York. This post is open to those with relevant experience in disarmament affairs, political analysis, or in national military or paramilitary service, preferably related to the design, implementation, or review of DDR. English language fluency is required and additional fluency in French is desired. These are posts that were before now only employed in third world backward countries in imminent danger of conflict, current conflict, and or post-conflict, typically from crippling civil wars. Discuss, Anons, how does this opening relate to current events around the nation and globe, economics, military, politics, and the ongoing and seemingly accelerated push for abolishing gun rights? Also, due to the positions only being open for application for 1 month, is this possibly being floated to first gauge public reaction before going full throttle with recruitment? Anyone with an understanding of the UN command structure under DDR, share. If there are any Anons with legitimate experience or know of those who were in this position, please share what their experiences were and in what country and general actions taken in that country. So this has a link here, and sure enough, the UN is hiring these disarmament officers. I don't know what to think about this. It's interesting that you have to be able to speak English, and French is desirable. How many French speakers are there in New York? I don't know. Or are they being hired for New York? Are they being hired for somewhere else in the country, like perhaps Virginia, or another country perhaps? I don't know. The neighbor to the north is French speaking. If you draw a line from New York City due north, you'll come to a whole bunch of French speakers. I don't know what this is concerning, but it does concern me. What do you guys think? Now, you guys, I know that there are some former military among our ranks as listeners, and I'm very interested in what you have to say. I do not have experience in the military at all, and I only learn from other people that have been. So, and I'm sure that there's many listeners that they have not been involved in the military, nor do they have family involved in the military. So they'll be wanting to know this as well. So if you are current or former military, or you happen to know anything about this, could you please post in the comments, because it'll be for the benefit of us all. We are the news, not I am the news. We are the news. No one person can do it all. So yeah, I depend on you guys to be my eyes and ears out there. So if you have any information, please consider putting it in the comments below, and we will move on for now. But when I saw that, I was a bit alarmed. Now, I think probably rightfully so, but we'll see what you guys have to say. All right, now we're going to come down to this by CJ Truth, fake news / enemy of the people. And he or she is responding to Donald J. Trump, who said the fake news said I played golf today, and I did not. I had a meeting in various locations while closely monitoring the U.S. Embassy situation in Iraq, which I'm still doing. The corrupt lamestream media knew this, but not surprisingly, failed to report or correct. So this is not the first time they have accused Donald Trump of playing golf when he was not playing golf. Of course, I think they have him mixed up with Obama, who played golf frequently. And they also like to say that he's wasted taxpayer money playing golf. They forget that he is playing on his own golf course, which he owns. He does not have to pay to play golf there. But this is not the first time, because of course we know with the whole thing with Trump going over for Thanksgiving to serve the troops, lamestream media was reporting that he was playing golf. Yes, while he was serving food to our military in Afghanistan. So we obviously cannot trust the news at all. So yeah, I take most of it with a grain of salt. Sometimes I do listen to the mainstream media to see what they're saying, so that I can look and find out if what they're saying is true. And almost always either it's completely untrue, or there's enough truth in there to make it palatable and to make it believable, but it's still a lie. A part truth is a lie, so there you go. Okay, now I also wanted to show you guys this in case you were not aware of it. Proclamation on National Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention Month 2020, and this was issued on December 31st, 2019, yesterday, of course. Human trafficking erodes personal dignity and destroys the moral fabric of society. Hear, hear. It is affront to humanity that tragically reaches all parts of the world, including communities across our nation. Each day in cities, suburbs, rural areas, and tribal lands, people of every age, gender, race, religion, and nationality are devastated by this grave offense. During National Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention Month, we reaffirm our unwavering commitment to eradicate this horrific injustice. So this is great. I don't know of any president aside from President Trump who has ever had this much effect on human trafficking. And indeed, before Trump, I don't even think, maybe there are some that realized the extent of it, but I don't think there were as many as there are now, that's for sure. I knew it was happening, but I didn't realize the extent to which it was happening. So, and it makes me more aware as well. Just because you live in a small community doesn't mean your next door neighbor or the guy a couple blocks over isn't trafficking human beings. You would be utterly surprised. And I think it's incumbent upon us to understand this so that we can be the eyes and ears. I think if more people were involved that way, there would be less of it happening. So anyway, trafficking crimes are perpetuated by transnational criminal enterprises, gangs, and cruel individuals. Through force, fraud, coercion, and sexual exploitation of minors, traffickers rob countless individuals of their dignity and freedom, splinter families, and threaten the safety of our communities. In all its forms, human trafficking is an intolerable blight on any society dedicated to freedom, individual rights, and the rule of law. Human trafficking is often a hidden crime that knows no boundaries. By some estimate, as many as 24.9 million people, adults and children, are trapped in a form of modern slavery around the world, including in the United States. Human traffickers exploit others through forced labor or commercial sex, and traffickers profit from their victims' horrific suffering. The evil of human trafficking must be defeated. We remain relentless in our resolve to bring perpetrators to justice, to protect survivors and help them heal, and to prevent further victimization and destruction of innocent lives. This year marks 20 years since our nation took decisive steps in the global fight against human trafficking by enacting the Trafficking Victims Protection Act of 2000, TVPA, and nearly 15 years since the United States ratified the United Nations Palermo Protocol to prevent, suppress, and punish trafficking in persons, especially women and children. Both the TVPA and the Palermo, not sure how that's pronounced, protocol establishes a comprehensive framework for combating human trafficking by establishing prevention programs, creating victim protections, and advancing prosecutions under expanded criminal statutes to usher in the modern anti-trafficking movement domestically and globally. These two measures illustrate a global consensus on the issue, and yet, as a nation, we must continue to work proactively to foster a culture of justice and accountability for this horrific crime. So let's move down here. I'm not going to read all of this, but my administration is committed to using every available resource, strengthening strategic partnerships, collaborating with state, local, and tribal entities, and by introducing innovative anti-trafficking strategies to bring the full force of the United States government to help end this barbaric practice once and for all. In January 2019, I was proud to sign both the Frederick Douglass Trafficking Victims Prevention and Protection Reauthorization Act and the Trafficking Victims Protection Reauthorization Act, reaffirming our commitment to preventing trafficking in all forms. And I know there has been no other president that's taken as many steps to end this as President Trump has. He truly is concerned with this, and he's working to end it, as can be seen by the number of arrests in child trafficking, sex trafficking, and so forth that have gone up under his leadership. Excuse me for a moment. So this is good news, as is most things under Donald Trump. So far, I think he has done a magnificent job. I can't find fault in him as of late, and I'm not one of these people that I just, put on these rose-colored glasses and see everything, like that every single thing this man does is good. No, I'm sure he's made his share of mistakes too, but one cannot argue with the fact that our country is fundamentally better because this man is in office. So there you go. And we're going to move down to this. Maybe some of you have seen this. This kind of really, it upset me. Didn't surprise me. It upset me more for the woman's sake than the Pope. But let's just take a look at this right now. And You guys can tell me what you think of this. Okay, so here is the Pope, and these people are pressed up against what looks to be a fence or a barrier of some sort, and they're wanting to shake his hand. And these are probably very faithful Catholic people that follow the Pope, and this is what he did in return. Now we're gonna play this, and I want you to watch. This woman is about to grab him and pull him closer. Now, I don't believe the Pope has any special power. I don't believe that he is. Now, I know that there are good Catholic people out there. I'm not trying to upset anyone, but I have serious doubts about this Pope, absolutely. And I think it's understandable that if someone believes that this person is a vice regent for God, that they would want to grab them and pull them closer for a blessing of some sort, or just to be near them. But this woman gets well, let's look. Now, I don't know what this woman was saying to him, and I don't even know what language this is or what have you. Maybe some of you do. If you recognize the language and you know what this woman is saying, please put it in the comments below. But I think this is very sad. Is this how is this how Jesus would react to somebody wanting to be near him or just wanting to touch his hand or what have you? I don't think so. He literally slaps her hand. Let's just play it one more time so you can see. Watch him slap at her. And he looks very, very angry. Now, I have a hard time with this. I think that it's awful. And this person, General, says, what a sad and horrible representative of the Catholic Church. All I can think of is, what would Jesus do? And I thought the very same thing when I saw this. I thought, wow, is that how our Lord would react or did react? No. So, yeah, I find that a little bit offensive, to tell you the truth, that he would treat a woman that way. Now, I'm not surprised. I don't think this Pope is a good Pope. I think personally, this is a personal opinion. So Catholics, please don't get upset with me. We can agree to disagree on this, but I believe this Pope is evil. So there you go. All right. And let's come back here, and we have something else regarding the Pope. And here we are again, and let's look at this. Maybe you guys have seen this before, but he's doing the same. He's withdrawing his hand before they can kiss it. And I think there's something about kissing the Pope's ring, and I just think that that's very interesting. Let's see what this person says. What the hell, the Pope dodging Catholics but kissed the feet of Muslim immigrants. He's part of the New World Order and globalists who undermine Catholics around the world. That's why he hates Trump. Retweet if you agree. Well, I think he hates Trump. I do think he's part of the New World Order and a globalist. There's no question in my mind. And anyway, let's look at him here. Let's take a look at this. See him withdrawing his hands? Now, I don't understand that. I really don't. Why is he's okay if they hold his hand, but if they go to kiss his ring, he withdraws. I think isn't that supposed to be the thing to do is to kiss his ring. I don't know, but he wasn't having any of it. But if you guys have a different interpretation, you can put it in the comments below. I am not trying to be whatever to the Catholics. I don't want to insult anyone. I just don't believe that this Pope is a good man. That's my opinion, and that's my opinion. All right, let's go back here and see what else we can get involved in here. Okay. Representative Gates claims he heard Democratic threats on the House floor. Now, this is from yesterday. Before the holidays, if you remember, the House of Representatives voted to impeach the president on abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. The vote came months after a whistleblower complaint that alleged Trump tried to use the power of the presidency to coerce Ukraine to investigate the Bidens for his own political interests. President Trump and his associates maintain his request was not politically motivated and that he wanted to root out corruption. According to a few Republican lawmakers, the campaign against the president was a sleazy process, and the main culprit, they alleged, is House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. On Hannity Monday night, Representatives Andy Biggs and Matt Gaetz recalled hearing threats on the Democratic side of the aisle as the votes proceeded. It's not just that Nancy Pelosi raises money for her political caucus, it's that Nancy Pelosi uses that money as a political weapon against anyone who would potentially vote against impeachment, Gaetz said. Andy and I observed active threats on the House floor that if the blue dog Democrats did not go along with the radical left of the Democratic Party and support impeachment, that they would not be supported by the DCCC. Biggs said he talked to Democrats behind the scene whose hands are tied because, again, Pelosi has bullied them with her power of the purse. Some of them I've talked to quietly on the side want this to go away, Biggs said. They wish it had never happened, but Nancy Pelosi's got them because she raises money for them. It was the only quid pro quo, Gaetz said, he observed during the impeachment process. Right now, Pelosi is threatening to withhold the articles of impeachment from the Senate, where this process is expected to head for a trial. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is demanding to hear from new witnesses and see new documents, making Republicans wonder if their Democrat colleagues have truly made their best case to impeach the president. This has been a huge mistake for the Democrats, Biggs says. Oh, you can say that again. You can say that again. And do I believe Representative Gaetz? Absolutely, I do. Absolutely. I don't think that every Democrat is bad, just like I don't think that every Republican is good. And I think that probably some of the Democrats did not want to vote for impeachment, but were compelled to, or blackmailed to, by none other than Nancy Pelosi. That's what I believe. All right, well, let's go back, see what else we can get involved in here. All right, yeah, let's look at this. Red-pilled news. Okay, and this is, you know what? I think that we have looked at this before. I think we have already covered this, and this is from December 6th, so I'm not sure how it made its way into my articles for tonight, but it did. And we're not going to look at it because we already know this. Okay. Now let's look at this, shall we? Of course we shall. Now, this is 27 seconds ago. No, it can't be. It must have been updated 27 seconds ago. Okay, now let's take a look at this. It says, Iranian militia leader leading Iraq U.S. embassy raid listed as Obama White House guest. Nothing suspicious there. No, not at all. Iranian militia leader Hadi al-Amiri, one of several identified as leading an attack on U.S. embassy in Baghdad on Tuesday, reportedly visited the White House in 2011 during the presidency of Barack Obama. On Tuesday, a mob in Baghdad attacked the U.S. embassy in retaliation against last weekend's U.S. airstrikes against the Iran-backed Shiite militia Kataib Hezbollah, responsible for killing an American civilian contractor. KH is a number of pro-Iran militias that make up the Popular Mobilization Forces, which legally became a wing of the Iraqi military after fighting the Sunni Islamic State terrorist group. President Donald Trump has since accused Iran of having orchestrated the embassy attack and stated that the government would be held fully responsible. And just wanted to mention that this embassy attack turned out very differently than Benghazi. Gee, I wonder why. Could be that we have Trump in office now and Obama was in office then, and then we had, the hill dog that really couldn't care less who died. Still does not take responsibility for that, and never will. But when has she taken responsibility for anything? I mean, she's still making excuses why she lost the election in 2016. Most sane people would have moved on. I guess it just must really irk her that she couldn't win a rigged election. All right. So the Washington Post reported Tuesday that among those agitating protesters in Baghdad on Tuesday was Hadi al-Amiri, a former transportation minister with close ties to Iran who leads the Badr Corps, another PMF militia. In 2011, both Fox News and the Washington Times noted that then Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki brought his transportation minister al-Amiri to a meeting at the White House. The Times noted that the White House did not confirm his attendance, but the official was on Iraq's listed members of its delegation. So there you go. Yeah, I'm sure glad that for this embassy attack that Donald Trump was in office. Sure glad about that. Nobody killed. That's always good news. Okay, now let's come back here and let's look at this. This from the Gateway Pundit. And let's take a look. Newly released Freedom of Information Act documents reveal former FBI chief Andrew McCabe lied to FBI investigators on his leaking to media. This is from today. Fresh news, hot and fresh. Just like the Krispy Kreme donut sign. All right, newly released Freedom of Information Act documents reveal former FBI chief Andrew McCabe lied to FBI investigators about leaking information to the Wall Street Journal in the final weeks of the 2016 election. Wait a minute, wait. Isn't lying to the FBI a federal offense? Well, how come he did it? Nothing happened to him. And yet Flynn didn't lie to the FBI, and look what happened to him. I don't get it. Yeah, actually, I do. Okay. Former FBI Chief Andrew McCabe faced scorching criticism and potential criminal prosecution for changing his story about a conversation he had with a Wall Street Journal reporter. Now, newly released interview transcripts show McCabe expressed remorse to internal FBI investigators when they pressed him on the about face. The FBI released documents in response to a Freedom of Information Act lawsuit by the government watchdog group Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington. They provide fresh details about the investigation into a leak to the Journal, McCabe's role in it, and the reaction of agents who investigated it. In the final weeks of the 2016 presidential campaign, the Journal broke news about an FBI investigation involving then-candidate Hillary Clinton, describing internal discussions among senior FBI officials. The apparent leak drew scrutiny from the Bureau's internal investigation team, which interviewed McCabe on May 9th, 2017, the day President Donald Trump fired James Comey from his post as FBI director. The agents interviewed him as part of an investigation regarding a different media leak to the online publication Circa, and also asked him about the journal story. In that interview, McCabe said that he did not know how the journal story came to be, but a few months later, his story changed after he reviewed his answer. McCabe knowingly lied to FBI investigators about his role in leaking documents to the Wall Street Journal. Roger Stone is looking at life in prison for less than this. The double standard in this Justice Department must stop in 2020. Americans will no longer tolerate this preferential treatment of deep state scum. And that is exactly what they are. Deep state scum. All right. It just never fails to leave me gobsmacked, for lack of a better word. Seriously. If that were you or I, and we lied to the FBI, our butts would be in jail. Really, they would. There's no denying that. But I guess if you're part of the deep state, you can do whatever the heck you want. That's the way it seems to me. And no, the U.S., the citizens of the United States are never going to trust the DOJ until this stuff is dealt with. Really, it has got to be dealt with, or we will never trust. Because it seems like there's a two-tier. It seems like there's a different justice system depending on who you are. That has to stop. All right. And that goes all the way down, because whatever up here trickles all the way down, you know? So yeah, the FBI, and that trickles down all the way down, because we know that justice is different depending on who you are, how much money you have, your influence, your status, all that. And that should never, ever be. Okay, now let's come down here, and I want to show you this. Says, I'm sick of the Dems saying Trump is inappropriate. And listen to this list. Ted Kennedy left a woman to die in a river. Yes, he did. Bill Clinton had weird sex in the Oval Office with a barely legal intern. Obama ran guns to Mexican drug lords and gave billions to terrorist states. Biden makes creepy and sexist comments and publicly fondles women. Hillary Clinton endangered Americans, released classified intel, wiped her illegal server, and destroyed mobile devices, left 4 American heroes to die and lied about it being caused by some stupid BS video, sold nuclear material to our enemies, and took money from terrorist-producing countries. John Edwards was indicted for using campaign funds to hide his mistress. Ron, I can't pronounce that, Blagojevich is in prison for trying to sell Obama's Senate seat. Anthony Weiner, well, need I say more? Well, there's lots more than that. Yes, Democratic Party, please lecture us on what is beneath a political office. You have so much experience in that area. Yeah, and there's a whole lot more that could be added to that list, that's for sure. So, let's look at this. Yeah. And back to No Name McCain. Flake and McCain connected to Arizona adoption attorney arrested for human trafficking. Now, wait a minute. This is from October 12th. Again, why on earth am I? We looked at this before. I don't know what is up with me today. No, I have not been drinking. But it's clear that maybe I should be. I don't know what I was doing when I came up with this list of news articles. I don't know. I guess there wasn't that much new, so I just grabbed old stuff. I don't know. But I can't put it over on you. You guys are too smart. Okay, let's look at this. This is absolutely awful. What's happening in Australia? It's hard to believe. Okay, Australia fires create plume of smoke wider than Europe as humanitarian crisis looms. People queue for hours for food, with temperatures forecast to rise to danger levels again in scenes likened to a war zone. Bushfires ravaging Australia have now killed at least 17 people and created a plume of smoke thought to be present over an area greater than that of Europe. The government has deployed military ships and Navy ships, and military aircraft were bringing water, food, and fuel to towns where supplies were depleted and roads were cut off by the fires. Authorities confirmed 3 bodies were found on Wednesday at Lake Conjola. On the south coast of New South Wales, more than 175 homes have been destroyed in the region. An area of thick smoke covering nearly 5.5 million square kilometers, 2.1 million square miles, has started drifting over the Pacific Ocean toward New Zealand. Annie Lipponen, a physicist and research scientist at the Finnish Meteorological Institute, said the plume was 14 times the size of Japan, and superimposing it over a map of Europe showed it would stretch from Iceland to Turkey. Now, I don't get this. I feel that whatever went on in California with all the fires is now going on in Australia. But why? Why are they trying to destroy Australia? Think of how many animals must have died in this looks like Armageddon. It looks like an apocalypse is happening there, and I feel absolutely horrible for these people. The size of the cloud symbolized the size of the emergency in southern Australia, where it is feared conditions could worsen further in the next 48 hours. Now, I know we have listeners from Australia that often post, so please, if you guys have an opinion on this, I mean, this is your country, so you will know far more than any of us over here will know. And so I'd like to hear from you guys. What is happening? What do you think is causing this, and why? I understand about the heat and so forth, but is there something else going on? And why? Why are they allowing Australia to burn? I don't know. I don't get this. I've been watching it at a, kind of peripherally for a long time, and I've been asking myself these questions, but now it just seems to be getting worse and worse and worse. I thought it would be like a California thing where, yes, the fires were bad, but then they'd be put out and life would get back to normal. Not so. Australia is literally burning, and I don't get it. I don't get it. Forecasters, yes, I understand that there's hot and windy conditions. I understand all that. Yes, but why are the temperatures so high? Are they doing geoengineering there? Are they tampering with the weather? What is causing this? So anyway, forecasters predict very hot and windy conditions for the south on Friday, with temperatures again set to reach 45 degrees Celsius or more, and dangerous bushfire conditions for eastern Victoria and New South Wales on Saturday. Thousands of firefighters are battling more than 100 blazes in the state of New South Wales and nearly 40 in Victoria on Wednesday, with new fires starting daily. A race against time is underway to rescue by air or sea thousands of people who have fled to beaches on the country's south and east coasts, as well as deliver supplies. Some 4,000 people in the coastal town of Malakuta, Victoria, fled to the shore as winds pushed a fire toward their homes. This is awful. I mean, it's hard for me to believe, and if I wasn't reading it, I wouldn't believe it. I mean, if I didn't know that it was true, I don't know. I've just never seen anything on this scale. I don't think we've ever seen anything on this scale. A race against time is underway we've just read that. So 4,000 people, they fled to the shore to escape the fire. Victoria Emergency Commissioner Andrew Crisp told reporters the Australian Defence Force was moving naval assets to Malakuta on a supply mission that would last 2 weeks, and helicopters would also fly in more firefighters since roads were inaccessible. I think that was our biggest threat in terms of what we were doing with the children. If we need to go in the water to protect ourselves, given the fact that there are only 1.1, 3, and 5. Oh, they are only 1, 3, and 5. They're talking about their kids there and whether they should go into the water to protect them against the encroaching fire. Tourist Kay Kirchbaum told ABC Australia, if you're a good swimmer, it doesn't really matter if you have to be in the water for a long time, but doing that with 3 kids, that would have been, I think, a nightmare. Yeah, I think that would be a nightmare too. Supermarkets were closed and people were queuing up for 3 hours to get food in some areas of New South Wales. On New Year's Day, it was estimated 50,000 homes were without power as phone networks were down and fuel ran low. Some residents were forced to camp on wharfs after multiple fires near Malakuta, cutting off road access. Nearby, 100 people took shelter in a school. Conditions cooled on Wednesday, but the fire danger remained very high across Victoria State, where 4 people are missing. I bet there's more than that missing or dead. Since the fire started in September, more than 1,000 homes have burnt, with the blazes destroying communities while wiping out wildlife in unprecedented numbers. It was like a war zone or something out of a movie, said Paul Murphy from Lake Conjola. More than a dozen people were reported to be trapped in the Ballora Valley inland in New South Wales after fires cut off road access to the area and wrecked homes. There were fears 600 cattle would die within days without emergency feed. Pippa Biglia told the Sydney Morning Herald her neighborhood had been killed. It burned through this place, and in a matter of minutes, it was at my mom and dad's house, she said. It came from every direction, and there was nothing anyone could do about it. In the city of Bairnsdale in East Gippsland, Victoria, donations of clothes, blankets, and long life food were being collected for people who had lost everything. More than 200 homes in East Gippsland have been razed to the ground. Even with 3 months of summer to go, the early start to Australia's summer wildfires has led authorities to rate this season the worst on record and sparked debate about whether Prime Minister Scott Morrison's Conservative government has taken enough action on climate change. Australia is the world's largest exporter of coal and liquefied natural gas, but Mr. Morrison rejected calls last month to downsize Australia's coal industry. Up to 500 million mammals, birds, and reptiles, including 8,000 koalas, have been killed. Oh my gosh, 500 million mammals. 8,000 koalas. And you know, the thing is, many of the animals in Australia are not, they're not found anywhere else in the world. So this is a place of, significance. The animals there, some of them are endangered. Unbelievable. Anyway, say ecologists from Sydney University, prompting fears entire species of animal and plant life may be lost forever. And that would be a massive loss. Of course, I'm not underestimating or trying to downplay the loss of human life. That is tragic, absolutely tragic. But it's even more tragic when you lose an entire species. More than 300 baby flying foxes have been abandoned by their mothers trying to survive, experts say. Flying foxes. Never heard of such a thing. Jenny Packwood, a wildlife rescuer, told the Herald mothers are abandoning babies at 2 weeks after birth because there is no food for them. Last week we had 300 come in, and we've been flat out feeding since then. I've never seen anything like this before. We're calling it a starvation event. My gosh, and they don't even have, how do you rescue that many animals? Really? And there's people going hungry. So I don't know. This is just absolutely awful. And I didn't realize that it had gotten this bad. And I apologize because I have not been reporting on it. And I especially apologize to those listeners in Australia. But again, I would love to hear straight from people that are in Australia right now what is happening, what are their perceptions of what is happening, and why. How bad is it? Are they making it seem worse than it is, or are they underplaying how bad it really is? I would like to know. Our experts told how the wildfires had obliterated all the small creatures that keep forests alive, leaving species such as bats vulnerable to local extinction. Koala Crisis wrote on Facebook, not one carer KC has spoken to has seen bees, insects, grubworms, snails, beetles, millipedes for months. Nothing struggles through the dust bowls, which are now covering millions of hectares in all states. There's no grass for the roos, no insects for the birds. The leaves on the eucalyptus are brittle, ensuring starvation for koalas, gliders, possums, birds, insects. The leader of the minor Australian Greens Party, Richard Di Natale, has demanded a royal commission, the nation's highest form of inquiry, on the wildlife crisis. If he, Morrison, refuses to do so, we will be moving for a parliamentary commission of inquiry with royal commission-like powers as soon as Parliament returns, Mr. Di Natale said in a statement. So, and the Independent has asked the Australian government to respond, and we here are asking listeners that are located in Australia to respond. If you know anything about this, if you can even just tell us your experiences, it would be certainly helpful to all of us struggling to understand this, because I feel like, I don't know, I think that this is the biggest ignored story ever, because I don't see a lot of stuff on this, not in the mainstream media. So yeah. This is absolutely catastrophic and apocalyptic, really. It sounds that way. Now, if we hear from people in Australia and they say, no, it's not that bad, or it's even worse than you're hearing, then we will know for sure. Okay, let's go back now and let's look at this. Now, this is kind of strange to go from that to this, but it's the nature of what we do here. All right, watch CNN's host make fools of themselves on New Year's, drunken vulgarity on air while kids watch. Why can't the hosts at CNN act professional? They refuse to behave like news people on regular days of the week, but when New Year's rolls around, they really go off the deep end. That is putting it mildly. Let me see here. Do they have a... Okay, let me see here. I thought they had a video on this. Is this? No, I don't think so. I'm trying to find the video. I watched the video somewhere. Okay, why can't the host? Okay. Okay, once again, Don Lemon treated his New Year gig like his own personal rave party, getting sloppy drunk and dancing around like the village idiot. CNN's annual New Year celebration wouldn't be complete without a drunk and cringeworthy Don Lemon acting like a 17-year-old boy on television, on live television. And with soccer mom Brooke Baldwin by his side, Lemon drank himself into a stupid stupor, and started slow jamming to a tune and singing along with the band singer, like it or not. You can watch the video below. All right, well, let's watch it.
All we need is good drinks and dumb jokes to have us a good time. Everybody, come on. Ooh, all we need is good drinks. All we need is good drinks. All we need is good drinks. All we need is good 2020 good drinks and dumb jokes to have us a good time. Oh, listen. We got our hands to the sea, hands to the sea, to the fire. We rockin' back and forth, we get a crazy on. Anderson, Andy, come Please, pass, remind me of. Lean on the sea, and it's all about love. All we need, you ready? Come on. Good drinks and dumb jokes. Ooh, all we need is good drinks and dumb jokes. All we need is good drinks and dumb jokes to have us a good time. Have us a good time. Oh, good drinks and dumb jokes. All we need is good drinks. All we need is good drinks. All right. To have us a good time. To have us a good time.
All right, well, that's 2 minutes of my life I'll never get back. So, but it was Anderson Cooper and his co-host Andy Cohen who used their New Year's show to discuss who has the biggest genitals in Hollywood. Yes, they didn't use that word genitals either. They used a word beginning with C. Disgusting. Can you imagine watching this garbage with your kids? CNN is pure filth. Conservative pundit Mark Dice tweeted out the clip saying, of course Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen are talking about who has the biggest genitals in Hollywood. Right, like that's appropriate. Yeah, so I don't think I want to play this because I don't want to hear it again. And these ghouls think President Trump has no morals. Progressive pukes like these don't care that children may be up late watching TV with their parents. They actually want kids seeing and hearing this stuff. This is all part of the degenerate progressive ideology. So yeah, that was CNN's host. Not surprising to us, not at all. Okay, now, this is, I think, maybe the last one we have here, and I just thought this was a little interesting. Global air crash deaths fall by more than half in 2019. Now, I'm not going to read this, but I'm going to ask you, what did Q tell us? That 7 in 10 plane crashes are intentional? So what does it mean when global air crash deaths fall by more than half in 2019? What does that mean? I'm just saying. Is this being addressed? I would assume so. How does global air crash deaths fall by more than half in 1 year? How does that happen? Guess we'd have to ask Donald Trump, wouldn't we? So I just thought that was interesting. Just wanted to mention it. I saw that and I thought, I think that's probably more proof of Q. Now, I know you're probably saying, well, I don't know if it's proof of Q. Well, it's proof that something's going on. And Q told us 7 out of 10 crashes, air crashes, are intentional. They are made to crash, onboard computer and all. And so if that's fallen by half, does that mean that the problem's been taken care of or the problem is being addressed? I would say so. But again, what do I know? Okay, what do you guys think? Do you think that that's proof of anything, or do you think that I'm just being ridiculous? I've been known to be ridiculous before, and I'll probably be ridiculous again. So there you go. Well, I think that is it for tonight. Like I said, it was a slow news day, absolutely. But I do want to thank a few people here because their contributions make this possible, and I am very, very grateful. Now, coffee donors, one fox to another. I like that moniker. Thank you for your donation. Anon and Cece. So thank you guys for your donations. I really appreciate it very, very much. And Patreon, we've got Marvin Boggs is a new Patreon member. Leopard Woman increased her pledge. Thank you very much. And we've got another new Patreon member, Linda Ward. So thank you guys so much for supporting me during via Patreon. I appreciate that very much. Also, I got some things in the mail. I guess it was yesterday. I'm thinking, when did I get that in the mail? It's closed today, but no, it was yesterday because our mail was open at least until 4 anyway. So I did get to the mail and I got some snail mail, which is always fun. Now, Wanda in Telford, Tennessee, she sent a card, a note, and a donation. Thank you very much, Wanda. And Kathy V in Garden Grove, California, she sent a beautiful card. I love the card. It was all silver with sparklies, and I've even got some of those sparklies on my computer. But I loved it. I love the card, and thank you for the beautiful card, note, and donation. I appreciate it, Kathy. And Sue in Georgia, she sent a card, note, and donation, and she kind of touched my heart because she said this was only the second time she'd ever donated to anyone that does this kind of thing, or anyone, online, what have you. But I did note in her note, she included they have some needs for prayer, and I would really appreciate if you guys, I'm not going to, get into the nitty gritty of it because I don't know if she would like that or not. Probably not. So, but God knows, right? He knows what the issue is, and she needs prayer. So if you could remember Sue in Georgia and her family, that would be very much appreciated. Now, last but not least, we've got Sherry and Jimmy from Pennsylvania, and they sent a card and note. Thank you so much. And I had to laugh because they have 1 dog, 7 cats, 2 turtles, and millions of honeybees. And thank you very much, Sherry and Jimmy from Pennsylvania, for taking care of the honeybees, because we need people to be doing that, absolutely. People that are raising honeybees and so forth. It is a great help to us. We know what's happening to the bees, and so I was happy to hear that, and I love honey. So there's people around here that have bees, and I get local honey from them, and there's nothing better than local honey. Anyway, so 1 dog, 7 cats, and 2 turtles. That's a full household right there. I wouldn't want to have their vet bills, but hey. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And Happy New Year to you guys. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I'm praying that this will be a better year. It started off kind of blue for me. I don't know why, but today has just been one of those days that I've been very, very blue. And I'm not sure, maybe some of you feel that way too. I guess maybe it's the uncertainty of the times that we face. But I'm praying that 2020 is a better year. And, well, I don't think we have any choice. We're in it right now, so let's make it better. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate you listening, and I appreciate you supporting me and encouraging me and praying for me. And I pray for all of you as well. So I hope that you all made it through the holidays safely. And I hope to be seeing more of you. And you will be seeing more of me. So there you go. All right, guys. You have a wonderful night. Stay safe, stay well, stay blessed, and keep seeking truth. Good night.